Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Joe Daddy's Garage. It is Monday, August 11th, 2025. It's hot, it's humid, but that's okay. I'm getting work done in the shop, and that's all that matters. I've started putting together the front of the Cobra Jet, and I can tell you that that is so satisfying. Whenever you start having visions of the end of what you're doing on a project. Now, y'all know I'm not building the entire car. I'm not doing the drivetrain or the brakes or the wiring or any of that stuff. So my part of the project is to get it assembled and then get it delivered. At least that's the plan at this point. So I currently have the two headlight buckets, and I'm going to show you a picture, on the front of the Cobra Jet. Now, the panel in between the two headlight buckets is not bolted down yet. I just wanted to set it in there and get a look at it. And I don't know if y'all remember when I started on this car, it was essentially, obviously it was rusted up, but it was also, it didn't have the headlight buckets installed, if I remember correctly. I know that the inner parts were all gone, the inner headlights and that sort of thing. And I'm going to have to go back and review my own videos to get an idea as to what was actually there. But I can say that the headlight buckets were empty on the inners. That much I know for a fact. And I think the rock guard may not have been in there, but regardless, it's going back together. Now, part of that process is me figuring out what goes where, because somebody else took half of that apart, and so I'm trying to figure it out as I go, and it will happen. It's going along nicely. I have the cowl. I have the front valance, and I have a specific hardware kit for that, and then I have hardware for everything else. I have the bumper brackets. I have new main brackets that go off the frame rails to the front, center, and then I have the two original ones that go off to the side. And so I took those apart from the original bumper today and cleaned them all up and painted them. There is some pitting, but nothing that's going to make a difference. It's not worth it to buy a new set whenever these are usable. So I'm going to put those on. Then I have to figure out, is it something that I want to assemble the bumper brackets on? I guess I could put the brackets on the main bumper and then slide it in. It's just one of those sequences scored type things. So anyway, I'm pretty excited that I have the headlight buckets at least on the fenders. And I'm going to get everything else moving over the next day or so. Now, I also want to show you, before I move on, and I may show this again later, but this is the cowl, and it is painted. Obviously, I blacked out the hood, blacked out the cowl, and just set it up against where it's going to go, obviously. And it just looks so good sitting there. I can't wait to get everything in place, the cowl and the hood, and have another look at all that stuff. So it's been a long road, and the road is coming to an end, which is a great thing. I have other projects to do. I need to get moving on the 68 fastback project. And so once I get everything taken care of here, then, get the car back to Florida, I can start rolling on the 68. And I'm really looking forward to that, because there's a lot that I've already done on that car to start with, but I want to get the body put together and start working on the suspension and all the trick stuff that's going to have to happen soon on that project. So I see I've got a little bit of a lag going. I'm hoping nothing's wrong with the internet again, but we'll see how things go. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I do a lot of Mustang stuff. I do a lot of different Mustang stuff, and I try to show people how to make things work on their projects. I also do other projects. I've done Camaros. I've done all kinds of things, and I show that on this channel. I do have another channel. It's called Joe Daddy's Workshop, and that is more like lawnmowers and home repairs and stuff like that. So if you need that kind of information, go check out that channel as well. But tonight we're going to talk about cars, and I prefer to talk about cars between 1955 and 1980. That's considered, what I consider my classic bracket of time. That's what I grew up with, and that's what I'm familiar with. So that's what we're going to talk about. I encourage everybody to be involved. I encourage you to ask questions or bring up subjects that may be beneficial to everybody. If you have a question, I try to answer it. If not, I have a great group of people over in the chat box, and they do a great job of picking up the slack where I fall short. So let's see who's here tonight and get this ball rolling. First in, Rick Gain. Not much has happened yet this week. Good. Hoping things will improve. Some good car talk will at least be the beginning. Everybody give Barry a thumbs up. Yes. By all means, throw a thumbs up on there. That helps YouTube know that you're watching. And I encourage everybody, if you watch my videos, leave at least a thumbs up, but also leave a comment. If you can, share my videos. Let YouTube know that it's worth seeing or it's worth sharing, and people, may be interested. So try to do what you can to help on that side of things as well. Dave Tyson, good evening all. Evening, Dave. First Dave tonight. Rick Stevenson, good evening everyone. Good evening, Rick. And Rick supplies my coffee, so thank you, Rick. Get my first hit of the evening. Terry Keithley, good evening, everyone in Barry. Please hit thumbs up and like. Like button, thank you kindly. Terry, Betty, and the cats. Thank you all. Glad you're here. TJ, good evening, everyone. Been busy as I picked up a 67 Mustang Coupe Playmate Pink in color, 289, 3-speed manual trans over the weekend in Charlotte, North Carolina, 8 hours round trip. It's rougher than a night in jail. You have to let us know how many Playboy Pink 67 Mustangs were made. I don't know the number, and that'll help people understand why that is interesting. It is an interesting color. I like it. I probably wouldn't paint one myself that color, unless it was an original car. But I do like it. I think they look pretty cool. Jiggy, good evening all. Question today from Stockbridge. If one was starting with a bare chassis and had to acquire the drivetrain from scratch, would using a Coda be much more expensive than a Part 2 pushrod engine with a sniper or similar EFI setup? And Jiggy says I'm going for max reliability, not max power. Okay, let me give you my opinion. I prefer the standard 302, maybe a 347 stroker myself. Once these things are built, they're pretty indestructible. You have to do something bad to make them come apart. These engines have been around a long time. They're built well, and they're, as far as having to work on them, not too complicated. The only issue at all with any of these small block Fords is keeping them cool, as we all know. They tend to run on the hot side. But if I'm building something that I want to drive, to car shows, just cruising around and not trying to go crazy with it, I would go with even a 351, because my Mach 1 has the original 351. That's all I'm putting in there. I'm putting that back in. I might put a little bit of a cam in it, put some headers on it. And I probably won't even do any EFI. I'll just do a carburetor. I'm comfortable with that. I haven't had any real complaints about putting an Edelbrock carburetor on one of these things and just driving it. So if you want to go the Holley route, that's fine too. But for me, I wouldn't go with the Coyote because it's not something that I'm interested in. I like the standard style of engine. So that's what I would go with. Good question. Hope that helps. Roger, Hindsight 67, greetings from next door. Greetings, Raj. Glad you're here. Rusty's Restoration. Hello, all in Barry. Everyone give a thumbs up I picked up a 67 convertible for a parts car. Boy, is it rough, about to fall in half. I know what that's like. I know what that's like. I was just reviewing some old videos of a car just like that. Glad you're here. Robert, the Infernal Craftsman, evening all. Miserably hot here as expected. Yep. Blue Healer, you haven't been on here in a while. Evening, Barry, 94 and humid in the Texas Hill Country. Welcome, Blue Healer. I can't remember the last time you were on here. Or at least you may have been on, but you didn't say anything. So, David Wright, Right Guy Garage, good evening to Barry and all trying to beat the heat in northern Indiana. Yep. In fact, I was working on this today with the garage door open. It was hot, it was humid, but I needed to have access to the front. Right now, and I'll turn the camera just a little bit, y'all know it's pretty much up against the door. And for me to work on that front end, I needed to have some room. So I just left the door open. I didn't have the air on. And then I stopped about, 5:30 or something like that, shut the door and turned the AC on because I needed it to be comfortable for this. So we'll see how tomorrow goes. I don't know exactly. I haven't looked to see what the temperature is going to be, but it's been raining off and on here, of course. And right now, temperature is 81 degrees. Tomorrow it'll be 82, Wednesday 85, but they're calling for rain every day, so the humidity doesn't help. But if it didn't say welcome, David. Robert says Jiggy at Cody will cost as much an entire running 64 to 68 car in many cases. So there you go. Jerry, howdy Barry, howdy y'all. The heat is making me miserable via vis Robert's heat misery. I get it. I understand. Glad you're here. At least checking in. Bob Shoemaker, evening all from thunderstorming Oklahoma. Lots of rain. Yeah, we've had infrequent rain. I mean, we've had, like, it rained. I didn't even know it rained. I went in the house to get something to eat, and I come back out, and I'm like, why is this all wet out here? I didn't even know it rained. So it was a quick rain, but we haven't had any really long pounding rains in a while. So, Black GTX, Mark, good evening to Barry and the gang. Evening, Mark, glad you're here. Jiggy, I should have mentioned Salvage Yard Cody. They seem to be coming down in price a tad as the years and production go on. Yeah, they do. You have to be careful, too, with the variations. I know that there's some talk of, there's like 3 generations of those, and I think Gen 2 is the better right now. I think there's more problems with the Gen 3, but I don't, I still prefer a standard engine if I'm just doing a nice driving car. David, bowler hat guy. Hello, everyone. Good evening, Barry. Good evening, sir. Dave Conville. Good evening. Evening, Dave. Dave's checking in from New Jersey tonight, I know. Hey, Matco, man. Hello, all. I hope everybody is staying cool. We are, for the most part. I didn't see you on here last week. Troy Justin, I almost missed this. I was working on the Mustang and lost track of time. The hood looks good. Give yourself a pat on the back. All right. Thank you for that. U.S. Dent is here. Awesome. Glad you're here, man. Hope everything is well with you. Gerhard, good evening, gang, from Canada. Welcome from the Great White North. Mr. Mikey, greetings to all you Mustangers. Greetings, Mr. Mikey. I should say, by the way, this is Doug. If U.S. Dent, that's Doug. Doug has helped us out in the past. We had body shop, years ago, and whenever we had that, we had a hailstorm come through. Him and his hail team came to our shop and did a bunch of work for us, and it was that's where I learned about PDR and the skill set of PDR. So I'm glad you're here, Doug. I hope all is well. Hope your business is going well, by the way. Let's see. Ed Cucciarella. Hello, all. Hello, Ed. Ed's checking in from California, if I remember. Rick Stevenson. How far back has the basket Camaro pushed back in the queue? That's a great question. I don't know. I really don't know. It's hold on a second. I got some emails coming in. It's not a priority. So that's all I can say about that. Rusty's Restoration. Let's see. He's the one that has sent me. Okay. So I'm going to download that image and then go back here for a second. Oh, Clark sent me a link about the Junkman. It was a movie. H.B. Halicki did Gone in 60 Seconds. And I watched that sometime earlier this year. I actually watched that. I think it's on YouTube. And yeah, they're a pretty cheesy movie. So thank you, Clark. I'll save the neck for you. But yeah, the Junkman, I remember seeing that, and it was Gone in 60 Seconds was a much better movie. Dawn's Manufactory. Hello, all from scorching 97 degrees PDX. I'm down in the basement today. It's really hot out in the shop. Wow, 97 out there is pretty darn hot. David, the Coyote versus 347 is something I put some thought into. I put a 347 in my 69, Coyote in the 68. Yep. And we're going to see how that turns out. Working on it. Gig'em Garage, good evening, everyone. Kevin Barth here. Glad you're here. David, they are comparable in power and durability, the two engines. Yep. TJ, pretty rare color in the Playmate Pink, as there were only 275 produced in 67. There were a lot more in the dusk rose color, as it's close in color. Yeah. But not the same. Not the same. I'm going to, let's see where did it go. So Russ has sent me a couple pictures of his convertible. I think he implied it's a parts car. Let me see if I can get one of these pics to show up. So when we pull down TJ here for a second. So here's the 67 convertible parts car. That's actually in better shape than the Brooklyn Pony was, by the looks of it. And here's the front section here. Look at that. Look at that. Yeah. Yeah. That needs a lot of work. Dave Britton is checking in. Hello, Dave. Glad you're here. He's also from the Great White North. Dave Tyson, we have heat and smoke. Not good. Oh, that's no, that's not good. Take shelter. Robert, cold front coming tomorrow. Only 93 supposedly. No rain for another 2 months though. Ooh, yeah, that's not friendly. Troy Justin, it has been dumping rain here on the Georgia coast, and our temperatures are climbing back into the 90s, hot and humid. Yeah. Our brief recess into fall is now over. It's not. That's gone. False fall, right? Rick Gain, at this point, I believe it will be Barry's grandson that finishes the basket case Camaro. You never know. Maybe he'll get to drive it in high school. Maybe. We'll see what happens. Robert, the hope is the basket case never gets done because that means there are enough customer cars in front of it. That's a valid point. Yeah. Yeah. TJ, I sent you pictures of it in an email of my Playmate Pink 67. I was looking at that. I don't see them. I don't know where they're at. I've Russ has sent me, but make sure you have my email right. There's no apostrophes in it. No apostrophes. Just Joe Daddy's Garage at gmail.com. So you may have to send them again because they're not here. Jay Living, hi Barry, long time no see. Do you have a good 69 passenger front fender? I have a good driver's side to trade. Define good. Because what I have is, let me think here. On my 69, it came with 2 new aftermarket fenders. And I also have the 2 original fenders, but they've got rust in them. Like the bottom's rusted off. And then I have another set of probably pretty near perfect 69 fenders, original fenders, that I'm going to use on my car. So I don't think I have one that's like an original fender. At most I'm going to have is some one of the aftermarket ones. That's probably it. So yeah, I probably can't help you, but well, at least you're offering. I like it. Gerhard, not white here in the Great White North today. It all feels like 102, very humid. Ooh, yeah, not good. Not good. Troy Justit. That was some good humor for Rick. Yeah. Hey, if my grandson, if I want to, maybe that's what I need to do is save it for him. That's what I'm doing. I'm saving the best case Camaro for my grandson. Yeah, it's a gift. But he has to help me build it. That makes sense. Travis, one of my top patrons. Good evening, all. Evening, Travis. Glad you're here. Jay Living, no rust. Fix one ding on wheel well. Yeah. I mean, I'd be interested in the fender just to have it, but I don't have. All I have is aftermarket ones that are available. So, unless I can find the. What I thought about doing was taking one of the rusted fenders from my car, cutting off the bottom of a perfectly good aftermarket fender because they don't make patches that I've found. For the 68, they make a patch. I used it on Jade for the bottom section of the fender. Great. But apparently for a 69, they don't. So you have to take a fender, a complete fender, and cut it off to make it work. I've thought about fixing up the original fenders with parts from the aftermarket fenders. But I don't need to because I have 2 good fenders. So it'd be kind of a wasted effort at that point. Brigade, maybe a curse and not a gift if he turns out to like Camaro more than Mustang. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Because I'm a car guy. Remember that. I don't consider myself solely Mustang or solely Camaro or any of that. My bracket is everything. I like cars. And, growing up in the junkyard, that was what I did. I drove all kinds of different things and liked them all. So I've had Mopars and Chevys and Dodges and Fords and Toyotas and Hondas. I've had all kinds of stuff. I would just be happy, honestly. If he was interested in an old car, I would be happy about that. Blue Healer. Barry, how is your little Tree Blab speaker going? I bought one about 4 years ago, and your recommendation is still going strong. Battery lasts for ages. I still have it right here. There it is. And it still works. Still works great. The thing is, I really haven't had much use for it. because what I did is I put in a Bluetooth player from Pile that plays. I connect my speakers to it, and now I play my radio through my iHeart Radio through my phone through that. So I haven't had much cause to use this, but it still works fine. The other thing I will show you is this thing has kind of surpassed that. Is this little I don't even know what the company is. I had somebody send me one of these, and this thing is a blast. It's a little, I don't know what the name is, but it looks like a little army type ammo can or something, a little gas can. So it's been good to have this. It's been good to have the Tree Blab, but it still works. I just haven't had much reason to hook it up lately. Al says, Sup, Al. How you doing? Rick Gain, I'll be waiting for Joe Daddy's Daughter's Son's Garage YouTube channel. Yeah. It would be my Joe Daddy's son's garage in this case. But yeah. You never know. David, I have one of those Pile music makers in my garage. Yeah, this thing is, it's Pile, it says pileusa.com on it, by the way. So does that mean they make them here? Probably not. But that's probably, that's the company. And I love that thing. It's got a USB port. It's got an SD card. You can hook up a variety of things to it. And that thing really does good. Playing music through the garage. Hard to beat. And I also have to point out, if you are looking for, like if you're doing Bluetooth, you're playing like Spotify or whatever, look up on iHeartRadio 96 Rock. And if you are in my bracket of time, you'll probably like 96 Rock. That station was here in Atlanta from like 1974 or something, all the way up to 2000 and I think it was 5, when the DJs got the show shut down. They got the radio station. They were getting so crazy that the FCC came in and shut them down. So there's now a following on iHeartRadio for 96 Rock. And the cool part about it is they only play, from what I understand now, they only play music from whenever they were active or started the station in like 74, 75, up until 2005, I think it is. They don't play anything after that. Now, they'll play 2005 and they'll go back into the 60s because that music was already on the radio. But that's where they stop. And I just think it's really cool. If you get a chance, check it out, 96 Rock. It's worth listening to. It's what I have on every day. It's all I listen to. Dave Britton says, Joe Daddy 2 Garage. Yeah, there you go. TJ, okay, hopefully you got the pictures of the 67 Playboy. There we go. So I got some pictures. Now, I don't know why. Maybe I was thinking of Russ's car. As far as being, I was thinking that it was a convertible. Let me download these, get these pics. I don't know why I was thinking yours was a convertible. Oh, this car is custom. Oh, y'all got to see this. You're going to like this. There's a really custom feature on this car. It's an optical illusion, but you're going to like it. Okay. I've just downloaded a few pictures. Let me get some of these other ones out of the way so I can make room for those. So If they only made, what, 200, less than 300 of these cars, I don't know what the data, if there's like a registry for them, if, there's a specific group. Sometimes you have like, the registry type things where you have a Shelby, it's registry, blah, blah, blah. Or like the Model A Club. I wonder if there's a specific club for these. Oops, I got one too many pictures. Let me get rid of that one. And that one. Hold on a second. 60. I'm getting there. I can only go as fast as the computer. Oh, and then it's going to try to go to Wi-Fi. Okay, here we go. So, there it is. I like the wheels. These are like keystones. Here's another angle of it. It looks like you can still see the pink on the fender there. Looks like they just stripped it down and let it sit. And this is an optical illusion, but I like it. Look, it's got wooden floors. It's the beach version. That's pretty cool. You can see the pink inside the roof line there and on the package shelf. So, yeah, that's gonna be a fun project. It's gonna be a fun project. I know he sent me 2 sets of pictures. So I don't know if I can. Okay, yeah, those are the same pics. Okay, so that'll be an interesting project. I'm looking forward to updates on that. I know you post on, I think you post on Instagram too, so that'll be good. Dave Britton makes you wonder what cars our grandkids will be working on. Yeah, they won't be. That's probably the harsh reality of it. Whenever you look at stuff they're building today, and we've talked about this, the new vehicles and what all these complicated things are doing to these things. I saw a video the other day that was very discouraging. It was a 2024, I don't know if it was GMC or Chevy or whatever. And if I heard them correctly, to replace the headlight assembly on that truck was something around $2,500 to replace the headlight assembly, one. And the guy was working on it, and he said there was a problem because somebody else had tried to work on it to replace this thing, and they didn't put the cooling fan. Apparently, you order one of these lights, a replacement. There's a cooling fan for the computer that's built into the headlight. So you have to swap the fan over from the old light to the new light. Plus, you got to take half the truck apart to get to it, whatever. But if I understood correctly, they were saying like $2,500 for one headlight, and I'm like, no, don't even. Can we do some sort of retrofit to where we can take that light out, just put in a standard bulb? Just give me something I can plug in, swap out, $15 bulb, and you're done. But now they're doing these ridiculous lighting systems on all these trucks and stuff, and all that stuff is computer controlled, and I can't imagine, what they're charging for these trucks. I saw another video where these some sort of super duper XLT Lariat Jumbo Texas Edition F-250 blah 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 on a Ford lot. It was $162,000, and a lot was full of them. Our kids can't work on that. Our grandkids can't work on that. I can't work on that, and I don't want to. I don't even want to look at those things. Just crazy. David saying the $2,500 or yeah, Playboy Pink Mustang is rough, and I agree. It's going to need a lot of love. It'll need a lot of love. Ed, just need paint and carpet kit that can be stapled in. Yeah. Put in the AstroTurf on top of the wood flooring. Yeah. Let me see here. Got a lag going. All right. Come on. I don't know what's going on. There we go. Rusty's Restoration. They're too busy playing video games. Yeah, yeah, but they can't afford to work on those things. That's the bad thing. Mr. Mikey, my grandson does V6 Toyota engines for his fun stuff. Yeah, good engine. Clark Clifford, you don't want to hear the price tags on Audi mirrors and headlights. $2,500 is less than our cost. See, that's what I'm talking about. Why? Why are we at this point in the automotive production? You know, Toyota is making a truck over. They're selling it in the Philippines, in Japan and different countries. That is supposedly a $10,000 truck. It has a little 4-cylinder engine, a stick shift, no radio. I'm sure it has manual windows. It's a utility truck for $10,000. It has a flat bed on it that you can lay the sides down, stack stuff on it. It's 4-wheel drive, $10,000. And they'll never import them here because it'll kill any sales that Ford and Chevy and them are doing. You know, they built these outrageous trucks. $100,000? No. No. Never. No truck, I don't care what it is, should ever cost over about, let's say about maybe 60 grand tops. And that would be for the topped out, top of the line, fanciest truck you could get. 60,000 should be no higher than that. That's just my opinion. James O'Brien, my F350 Tremor is $106,000. I'll give you a bell for being here, but I just don't get it. I mean, it's an F350, so yeah, that's a big difference. And I'm sure you can pull anything in the world with that truck. I understand the purpose for that truck, and I get it. But I still can't see all the over-the-top stuff they're doing to all these vehicles to make it fancy, you know? And then when something breaks, you're like, how much is that? Just crazy. Rick Stevenson, the interior lights quit working on my 2012 F250, needs a body control module, $1,200. Yep. Yeah. Just to turn on your interior lights. Imagine if there was something like a switch that you could just pull out of your dash, you know, to like turn on your headlights. Really simple. It could have 2 stops on it. You pull it out halfway and parking lights come on. Then you pull it out all the way and the headlights come on. And then if you turn it, your interior lights come on. Wouldn't that be incredible? They should come up with something like that. You know, a switch. Yeah, it doesn't need any computer or module or any. Yeah, that would be incredible if they just could do that. I'm with you. Steve Reed, hello Barry and everyone. Hope everyone's doing well, and give Barry a thumbs up. Yes, thanks, Steve. David, I'd buy one of those little utility trucks. Yeah, and it's based on, as Ed says, the Toyota Hilux. I've been looking at them. They're actually based on a Toyota Hilux chassis that's been out there forever, nearly indestructible. And those little trucks, honestly, that's all I need. Now, if I wanted to tow a car on a trailer, I've got my big GMC, my 2009 GMC with 260,000 miles on it that still runs and drives like it needs to. But going to Lowe's or Home Depot and picking up some wood, some materials, basic home maintenance things or whatever, hauling stuff to the dump, one of those little trucks would be fantastic. But they'll never import one of those. Mark, a $10,000 truck probably won't meet U.S. safety standards. I don't know. It looks like they may have added some safety features. I don't know. But you have to look them up. I just do a Google search, $10,000 Toyota truck, and you'll see it's not attractive. It's not. It's a box. It is a box, but it serves its purpose, and you can add on stuff to it if you want to as well. Robert says the Hilux Champ. Yep. Hard to beat. Steve Reed, Cobra Jet, one step closer, looking great. Yes, thank you, Steve. Step by step by step. Let me see if I can add this last picture Doyle has sent me. See if I have enough room on my file. Okay, so Doyle sent me this, and his comment was Bondo under paint. Would you trust it? Would you trust it? So let me just show you that. Get an opinion. Whoops. So there's and let's see, his question sent, would you trust the work that was done under the paint? That's a good question. Now, that doesn't look like what I would call Bondo brand. Anything Bondo brand I'm not going to use. And what I'm seeing looks like that's direct to metal, which is okay. The good body fillers, Rage and stuff, they're all recommended to go, you can go straight to metal with them. So I see some dark spots. I don't know if that's just paint still on the top there. I can't say for sure. I know me, and I would probably strip it all down because that's how I am. I'm kind of have that sickness. I want to see what's there and go from there. But could it, would it, should it be okay? I don't know. I would hope so. If somebody went to bare metal and there's no rust underneath it, the problem is you don't know. So I know for me, I would strip it down. So if you're asking my opinion, would I trust it? I'm going to have to say no. But I can see where you can go, yeah. But I wouldn't. I like to start with a clean slate. So, hey, Mackie Man, it's crazy talk, Barry. What is in your coffee? I don't know. Rick sent it to me. Good stuff. Robert says the Champ is basically an upsized Kai mini truck, same style bed, etc. Yeah. Is that what it's called, the Toyota Champ? Yeah. Robert, my only issue with trusting old filler work is what the paint was on the car. If it was enamel or lacquer, I would remove it just to make sure there was no chemical interaction with newer paint. So that's a valid point too. Dave Condell, 10,000. Heck, I'd be happy to see a 30,000 bare bones 4x4 heat and AC work truck. Yeah. Yeah. This 09 GMC that I got, granted, it's got a lot of miles on it. It's 2009, 260,000 miles. I just put shocks on it the other day because it rode kind of rough. And the shocks were shot. They were just gone. But the truck itself doesn't have active fuel management. It's got the 6-liter engine, overdrive, transmission, all that stuff. It's got the big brakes on it, a tow package, all these things. And even though it has 260,000 miles on it, it does not bother me. I know, the reality is, I know that it's driven 260,000 miles. I have a friend right now. She has a almost brand new GMC truck. They've had it to the dealer now 4, maybe 5 times. If I remember correctly, it only has not even 13,000 miles on it. And they're doing like major work to it to try to keep the thing running. That's just makes no sense to me. Anything, if they're building a new vehicle and you're paying outrageous sums of money for these things, they should be nearly indestructible. Just my opinion. I mean, not talking driving through a brick wall or anything, but the durability should be off the charts, the reliability, all those things. You shouldn't have to question it. Is it going to start? I saw a video the other day of a guy it was a repair guy, had a 2024 GMC truck. And you talk about not knowing how to work on things or not being able to fix things. They towed it to the dealership for a no start. So y'all know, no start, it could be a variety of things. The technician showed what the problem was. He gets in the vehicle, pushes on the brake pedal, hits the start button. It doesn't start. He's like, oh, lights come all on and do all that stuff. He gets back and gets underneath the steering column, and it had a floor mat on. It went, protect your floors, but the mat had shifted, and it was on top of the gas pedal and was just pushing the gas pedal down a little bit. And apparently these new things, with all the electric controls, if that input is not correct, or if it's not at 0, let's say, it won't start. It's not like an old car where you could pump the gas, you got a cable, you're pushing on it, you could have it half throttle, crank it, that thing would fire up, rev up nice. Now it's got a little, just the gas pedal's off a little bit, and it says, nope, I'm not starting. So the guy pulled the mat back and tucked it back up underneath the gas pedal, went through the procedure, and it fired right up. The thing is, people buy these things and they don't even know what they're not going to know that. They don't even tell them, hey, if you got a problem, check your floor mat, right? Simple things like that. And they're making these things, they're just so complex. It's just frustrating. Dave Tyson, look on backside. Look on backside. Oh, you sent me the other pictures? Is there more pictures? I only have that one. Wait a minute. What? Not Dave. Dave Tyson, what are you talking about? Look on backside. Okay. I lost. Jay Living, hey Barry, I also have a 70 fastback car my son may sell. It's a rough project, but I built worse. Okay. Send me an email. How about that? Send me an email, let me know what you have. If you would, there's the email at the bottom of the screen, joedaddysgarage@gmail.com. Let me know what you have. Send me pictures of it. Rick Stevenson, coffee is 1820 from Costa Rica. Really good stuff. I agree. 100%. Another sip. Jay Living. 750,000 miles on my '02 Chevy Silverado. Exactly. The thing is, I had a 99, a 2000, an '01 Chevy, GMC, and Chevy. And I think I had another. No, that's all I had for those. And to me, those early Silverados, GMCs with the 5.3, 99 to 0, whatever, 05, 04, 05 are the best ones they built. And then when they started going to the active fuel management, that ruined that engine. It ruined the beauty of that engine. But yeah, I'm not surprised at all that you got that many miles out of that. And the thing is, those trucks they're still on the road. They're great trucks. That was like, to me, almost like the peak of the builds for those trucks. Now, my 09 is in that same bracket because it has a 6-liter without the active fuel management. So it's kind of in that same period. And also, mine has the extended cab bifold doors, right? Which is all I want. I don't want 4 doors. I don't want any of that stuff. I like the backwards opening back door. So that's why I have that truck. And that's why I'm going to keep that truck running as long as I can. But yeah, 750,000 miles. That's awesome. Mark says, my brother-in-law's 2024 GMC had a lot of issues until the 6.2 blew up at 12,000 miles. That's what I'm saying. Why are they having... These trucks should be unbreakable. You know? They shouldn't have failures, especially at 12,000 miles. They need to be going 250,000 miles before they have something fail. It just doesn't make any sense. Mr. Mikey, what about shift sensors in newer truck trannies? Opinions. Now, I'm not familiar with the shift sensor, so I don't know. I don't know exactly what you're referring to. I know that the my 09 truck has a downshift, like when you're towing. Okay, wait a minute. This thing's lagging. Here we go. So I know my 09 truck has the downshift thing on it. So when you're in tow mode and you're towing a trailer and you let off the gas, you start decelerating, it'll actually want to downshift for you. Sometimes I don't like that, but it does work. Mark says GM bought it back. Well, that's good. Amir, hold on. I don't know why my panel is lagging here. Amir Rizvi. Do you remember Top Gear did a Toyota pickup truck destruction test? Those things were made different. I do remember, and that was a Toyota Hilux, 4-cylinder diesel, if I remember correctly. And they did all kinds of stuff to that truck. In fact, they put it on top of like a 5-story building or something, and then blew up the building. And then got in that truck. It was on top, and they crashed it down. And they got in the truck, and it fired up, and they were still drivable. Different is right. Welcome, Amir. Sorry. Rick Stevenson, that was a Hollis. Hollis. I missed it. Clark, at the price you pay for these trucks, I think you're buying a spare engine and trans up front. Yeah, there you go. Kind of like Snap-on tools. Hey, Matco Man, I'm not talking about you. Just kidding. Don't get me started on that. Let me go down a different path. Rick Stevenson, Hilux. Oh yes, yeah. Sorry, he said I now I understand. He says Hollis. It was a Hilux. Yeah. Paul says I remember that test. Yeah. It was pretty incredible, the abuse they put on that truck, and kept on running. You know, I've talked about it before up at the junkyard, and I know I've talked about it. We had an old International Scout, like a 1962 or something, 4-cylinder with had like 27 shifters on the floor, you know, like high, low, 4-speed, all kinds of stuff. I'm joking. I don't know how many. It was like 4 or 5 shifters on the floor, for whatever reason. But it never held water. Apparently, water had frozen in the block and cracked the block. But we drove that truck, that Scout, all over the junkyard, hauling parts, pulling parts and tools and everything else. And we found that thing, you could drive it just about anywhere until it got hot. And then it would lock up. The engine would get hot and it would stop. And we would just leave it sit there. Come back the next day, it would fire right up and drive off. And you could, it ran good until you got hot and then it would lock up. But think about that. These things that were nearly indestructible back in the 60s. And today you got to be careful you don't, put the wrong oil in. That these new trucks could just quit. Simple things that cause them to be non-functional. Again, we need simple, basic trucks. Don't need all the bells and whistles. Don't need computers controlling every single thing that happens in the truck. Give me an old standard radio. I don't need all the extra gizmos that come in it. Just give me a regular radio. Transistor. Turn the dial. The simple headlight switch, as I was talking about earlier. All these things that they do to these trucks that is just overkill. Just over the top. Not worth it. I won't buy a new truck. Or probably any new vehicle. Unless it's got something that's got some miles on it, and I know that it's been on the road and everybody else has paid all the price to keep it on the road, then I might consider buying something, but not going to do it. Anyway, so I've been piecing together the Cobra Jet, as I said, and the hood is blacked out. I did that video on that, and I think it's looking really, really good. At this point, there's a few things I need to address. One of them is the headlight, or the hood scoop trim ring that goes in the hood. I'm not liking the one that I have, and I think I'm just going to get a different one. The one that I have actually has a crack in it, which I didn't find until I was starting to sand on it, and I saw that crack, and I was like, I don't want to take a chance on this thing breaking. And also it has some pitting in it that may be relatable to what the problems were that I had with the mirrors, because it's the same kind of metal. It's the same white metal or pot metal, whatever. So I'm going to get a different trim ring, and then I need a couple of the trim rings that go around the outer headlight pieces. Like you can't really tell very well in this picture, but the inner headlight doesn't have a trim ring around it, but the outer one has a secondary trim ring. And with that, you've got to take that trim ring off if you want to adjust the headlights. So it has the 2 adjusting screws, and then this ring slides around the headlight. It has 2 clips on the bottom and 1 screw at the top that hold it in place. The original ones that I have, the tabs are rusted off. Would it stay in place with just a screw? Probably. Am I going to do that? Probably not. I don't like that. I want to have it correct. So I'm going to get 2 more of those. And then we're still waiting on the wheels. I don't know if they've been ordered yet. I know that we're supposed to be getting a set of wheels, and then I'll go get some tires on them so I can put them on the car so it's ready to go. Now, I don't know when all that's going to exactly happen. Now the process right now is for me to get the front end together, go over it, make sure everything's clean and, dressed up, whatever I need to do. And then we'll see what happens. So, Amir, these new vehicles are so complex. That is why the depreciation is so bad. Yeah, they really just, you can't beat an old truck. the value of an old truck. You really can't. And that's why they're having trouble selling these things too. Because people are realizing, hey, I can't even rely on this thing to get me to the gas station. Mr. Mike, I really enjoyed the headlight bucket video. Yes, thank you for that. I did a video specifically for Patreon, assembling the headlight buckets and going through the process. There's all kinds of hardware, and it's complicated, but it's worth going, showing that. And I did that on Patreon for my patrons to see that. So I'm glad you liked it. TJ, hey Barry, do you have a good 4-speed top loader transmission for 67 with the 289 engine, or know of someone that may have a fair price? But I have been rolling around a T5 5-speed. Any thoughts? I don't know of any 4-speeds available. The T5 is probably a good thing to do. I know that there's kits out there that allow you to swap that thing fairly simply, I believe. But I don't know, I don't see any negatives in putting in the 5-speed unless you want to make this car, if you're talking about the Playboy pink car, unless you want to make it original, right? So if you're going, depends on what approach you're doing. Do you want to go down that path of, hey, this car is built to the original specs? I think you said it had a 3-speed in it, if I remember correctly. Or do you want to build it in such a way that you could put in a 5-speed, but if somebody wanted to put in a 3-speed, they could still do it? That's kind of, way to look at it. But I don't know of any available. And I forget what the companies are. There's some company that has the transmission kit available. Dave Britton, Barry, what do you normally do to prep bolts like fender bolts? Do you blast them? It depends on the car. So I have done media blasting. I've also just taken a wire wheel and spun them in through the wire wheel to clean them up, and then just put some black paint on them. Now, in this case, like this car, you can see there's silver bolts. Those are out of the master bolt kit. And the factory car would have had those silver bolts on there. So that's what I'm using, is the original style. Most of the time, if I'm doing a regular Mustang, I don't care about the silver. I'm just going to spray them black and be done with it, So that's kind of how I approach that. Dave Britton, a new pickup is now more than what I paid for my first house. Oh yeah, unfortunately. Terry Keithley, says Robert, putting a 91 AOD trans in my 1946. No computer will the trans shift correctly. It should. 91. I think that's your safe zone. That's before the computer controls. Yeah, I think that. I see you say Robert, but I think you're okay with that. James O'Brien, do the dynacorn fenders for 69 have more flair than the original or the same? I don't know. I don't have a set of fenders for 69 from dynacorn. I have not seen them in person, so I can't tell you for sure. You're talking about the front fenders, obviously. I really don't know. The fenders that are on this car are factory Mustang fenders. Those are off of another Mustang. But I don't know for sure on the dynacorn. Travis says, Barry, what about putting all your videos on Patreon for like 2 weeks and putting them on YouTube? Give patrons first look. That's a good idea. And that is something I've considered doing. I know there's an option on Patreon. I'd have to look at how the system is designed. There is a way to do that, and that's a good idea. I have to figure out how to transition that. Like, I try to put a video a week on YouTube. Not that it matters, because YouTube hates me. They do. It's a fact. They do. My revenue just continues to tank. They don't promote me. I've had people who have been subscribers for years contact me and they ask me, "Are you still putting out videos?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they said, "Well, they're not getting any notifications at all that the that I'm putting out videos. They don't even know." And they have the subscription, the bell notification, all that stuff. My PDR guy who was here, and he says, I haven't, I haven't seen any of your videos in years. And I said, "Are you subscribed?" He said, "Yeah, I got, notification thing on and all that," and nothing. And now he's searched for me, and now he's starting to see these notifications. So, it's probably not a bad idea to try doing something like that. And I'm all for it. I would much rather have my patrons be accommodated than, what YouTube does, because it's just not, so many times it feels like it's just not worth it for me to work towards helping, putting on videos on YouTube. So I'll see what I can do about that. I'm working on a video right now of putting this front end together. And maybe what I can do, I'll see what I can do. That's a good idea, Travis. I'll look into it some more. I've also considered re-editing my older videos. So I was looking at like the Brooklyn Pony stuff, and those videos are very valuable for people to see. And I've already re-edited one bracket of that. I've taken the first 4 videos and turned them into one video sequence. It's like an hour long. And I'm really tempted, and I hate to put it this way, I'm really tempted to just take those videos off of YouTube entirely. Like, that stuff doesn't get views anymore. Or that I know of. I don't even know. It's like I don't know if people are still looking at those or if people are still trying to find those. I get notifications from YouTube that I have X number of new viewers, and my repeat viewers are like dropped down, like they're not showing up. And I think part of it is YouTube doesn't let them know that I made a video. It's really complicated, and it's just terrible the way it works. But I'll look into it, Travis. Thank you. Robert says 90-91 or so was the last year for the old style AOD and should be fine. AODE is another subject. Rick Stevenson and Terry, watch your throttle valve adjustment. Telling Terry. Okay. David, YouTube is changing on Wednesday. Might have an impact on things. Yeah, it might. I don't know what to do because I've tried to encourage people to, share the videos and all that sort of thing. I don't know. Nothing seems to help. Rick Stevenson's throttle valve is the downshift linkage. Okay. Stephen Carter, it's your fault. I bought a 66 coupe. LOL. In May, never had a 64 to 66. Oh, awesome. Rick Stevenson, I'm pretty sure that Low Carb made a setup talking about the, I guess you're talking about the shift down linkage for the AOD. Travis says, before taking them off, what about you offer a DVD of all those videos? I would buy it. That's a thought. That is definitely a thought. Because, I could probably do an hour video of the teardown and then hour-long process of build-ups. That's not a bad idea. I don't know how I'd market that. Like, if I were to try to sell in bulk, you know what I mean? I don't know how that would work, and whether it would pay off in the end. It's difficult. The thing is, and I've said this before, there's a lot of effort behind what I do. Not only in doing the work, but in filming the work, editing the work, posting here, posting there, follow-ups, emails, messaging, comments. There's just a lot that goes behind the scenes that people don't see. And I get it. You know, they're seeing what's on the screen, and that's just the way it is. You know, there's a lot involved behind the scenes. Michael, evening all. Did anyone make it to the Putnam show? I was there and just checked the winner first and the number of cars in total. Any guesses on the number? Nope. I didn't make it. And number of total cars, 2,407. That's my guess. Terry Keithley, the engine was a EFI, now 4-barrel 302. Okay. Stephen Carter, the mock stripes were a nightmare. Nice work. Patience of Job. Well, thank you for that. I am known for my my patience. Don't believe my wife says that I'm impatient about things. I never get impatient. I get anxious. There's a difference. Okay. I think I'm getting close to the end for tonight's show. And it's been good. We talked about a few things that are of good interest. The Playboy Pink Mustang and asking questions about shift linkages and all that sort of thing. I am making a road trip this week. I'll let you all know I'm going back up to Pennsylvania. I'm going to go back to see what's left of the old junkyard property. I know that the house is torn down now and all that stuff. And it'll be shocking to see that, but I'm going to have to go and take a look anyway. I plan to be back next week at 7 o'clock. Now, that's assuming everything goes well. I'm supposed to drive back on Monday. I may or may not be here. Just saying. Just saying. If I don't make it, don't be upset. Doyle says, how often do you scream off camera when something doesn't go right? I don't, typically. I really don't. I've learned a long time ago, when you do that, you're losing control and it doesn't help. So I just don't bother. And Terry Keithley, Gobs Run, yes. Okay. All right, so I'm going to make my road trip, and I'll be back next week, hopefully at 7 o'clock. If not, we'll catch up next time. But I want to thank you all for being here. Continue to watch the videos, share my videos, leave comments and thumbs up, all that stuff. And we'll see you next week. So until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya.